Mema obi bi akwa basanchi achi obi bi ebi me family kasa TV so abusuafo Chief Justice Gertrude Torkornoo a chese ye remove no free ni seat a chese ye nyina beji atum say over last month or last 2 months are suspending any ade a chese ne issue no back and forth na abusuafo Madam Sofia Akufo eso ede ensem aba beto abonten o chese state a anase ade o mugina so ede remove Chief Justice Gertrude Torkornoo every nakonya so no very weak a kyese otimi hu say ebia omo ankasa na pese omo pamo no na sa state anasa nyoma no mo kyese omo de gina so de apamo no very weak nti mummi nkuti ensema NDC for so editor anasa respond omo de ama Madam Sofia Akufo nti mummi nkuti ensem munchum subscribe to my channel like it never adwinche gu comment section kama yakoba they can be unbearable
and the reasons that were attributed for that decision.
Where she's completely wrong is that the fact that in our law, stated misbehavior is not defined or explained anywhere. So therefore, the committee that sits down will put its own definition of stated misbehavior to whatever they are doing.
So unless misuse of, okay, go on.
And then also, prima facie, whether it has merit or not, it's also not defined by the constitution or anybody in the country. As a result, when the president picks it, when the president is not a court, you see, when it comes to an ordinary judge, it is the Chief Justice who should weigh it whether it has got merit, because she belongs to the judicial system. She's operating within those lines. In the case of the dismissal of the Chief Justice, you give it to a politician to see whether it has got merit, and that's what you mean by prima facie. And prima facie is not determined or defined anywhere. And so the president gives his own personal definition of what is prima facie, and that is where the former Chief Justice also gets it wrong. She should have told us that it is weak because in the constitution, prima facie or whatever is defined as so and so. Stated misbehavior is defined as so and so. She doesn't tell us the definition of stated misbehavior, and then you arrive at a conclusion.
Oh yeah, we've had conversations about this before in the past about the process, and you have always maintained that the president is following the constitutional process. Do you still believe that that is the case?
Yes, that is the case. Because if you read Article 146 or even the Constitution as a whole, you will see that it will be very wrong for anybody to think that we have a democracy in Ghana. We only have a constitution. We don't really have, or do I say, we don't yet have a democracy. We have a constitution.
So what have we been doing all this while?
Let me tell you. If you get a paper and you draw a very beautiful tiger on it, and now everybody seeing it say, yes, this is a tiger. It remains a paper tiger and not a real one. See, in 1992, before we could enter democracy, there was this consultative assembly. Yes, consultative assembly, handpicked by the then Provisional National Defense Council to draw up the 1992 Constitution under severe international pressure. Now, the situation would have been different if the powers that be then behaved like the 1979 scenario. In 1979, General Akufo, who caused the setting up of the Constituent Assembly, was not interested in contesting as a president, just as the Supreme Military Council was not converting into a political party. He was overthrown midway. Then Flight Lieutenant Rawlings came with the AFRC. Both the chairman and the council were not interested in contesting. So in that case, there was a dispassionate attempt on their part to ensure, when I say this, rather I should say a disinterested effort on their part to put in place constitutionalism. In the case of the 1992 scenario, the Provisional National Defense Council was interested in actively participating in the Fourth Republican politics, and therefore transited itself from PNDC, as you know, to the NDC. And then the same powers that the military leader was otherwise enjoying in the military dictatorship under the junta, was put or were put into the 1992 constitution. That is why in the 1992 constitution you find the president so powerful, appointing and dismissing everybody. And if you want to challenge it, you say no, it is in Article so and so of the constitution, having power to expand the limit of Parliament, appointing the Electoral Commission, appointing his own Auditor General, his IGP, appointing Superior Court judges and dismissing them. So instead of separation of powers, as we had under the 1979 Third Republican Constitution, and when you say separation of powers, we are talking about the judiciary, we are talking about the executive, and then the legislature, the three being equal, and then checks and balances working, and then the judiciary having additional advantage of being independent of the two. In the case of the 1992 Constitution, I'm saying that it's not a democratic constitution, at best a paper tiger, simply because we have one creature called the executive with two wings. One is the judiciary and one is the legislature. So we don't have separation of powers here. And why do I say two wings? Let me start from the legislature. Members of the legislature are elected by the people of Ghana. The moment they enter Parliament, the executive has got power to enter that house, look at the faces there, and select about 2/3 of them as his ministers. So here you see the encroachment of legislative powers by the executive. And to make things worse, these same people who are selected as ministers of the president will go and take cabinet decisions and come back to defend the decisions there. Again, to weaken them more. Because at the time the member of parliament was campaigning under the 1992 constitution, let me start it where. You see, under the 1979 constitution, the member or the candidate campaigning to become a member of parliament would not tell you that I will give you water, I'll give you market, I'll give you this or that, because he knows that his destiny is parliament and he's not going to be a minister because of the separation of powers. In the 1992 constitution, the candidate is now empowered to tell the people that I'm going to give you this, I'll construct you, because potentially the president would appoint him as Minister for Roads and Highways, Foreign Affairs, Minister for Education, Minister for Interior. And when he's Minister for Interior, he can get plenty of people from his constituency to join the police service or whatever, the others, prisons, name them, fire service. So you see the scenario.
So then in this case, is this a health